afternoon. I, dear friends, as a public speaker, stand before you today completely vulnerable. Vulnerable like Linus of Peanuts fame without his blanket. I, as a public speaker, am wholly and completely at your mercy. How many people in similar situations as myself have been barraged with one of these? Simply because somebody in the audience disagreed passionately with what was being said. Who, might you ask? Who could have so much gall, so much effrontery, to boldly and inconsiderately interrupt someone during a speaking forum? Hecklers, that's who. Hecklers who live their lives by the motto, everyone is entitled to my opinion. And yet heckling takes place in many arenas where public speaking is commonplace. Does this make it right? Does this make it an ethical behavior? In order to better understand the nature and cause for heckling, one must first understand just what heckling is and why it occurs. What is a heckler, anyway? A heckler is one who, according to Jaffe 2010, page 44, disrupts speeches and confronts speakers during their speeches, trying to embarrass them and making it difficult for others to hear what they have to say. My friends, people may be motivated to interrupt speeches for a variety of reasons. Most of the time, though, heckling occurs due to the improper response and reluctance to diversity. Generally, people respond to diversity in one of three ways: assimilation, accommodation, and resistance. Now, it's those who fall into the resistance category who are usually the ones that are more prone to heckling. Those following into the assimilation and accommodation categories are more likely than not to follow the unwritten code of decency, as spoken of by Atkins in his August 29, 2000 article that appeared in Christian Science Monitor, whereby hecklers and protesters should let a speaker complete a speech without constant interruption or total disruption. It is simply a case of good manners and consideration for other people. Some hecklers also do so simply for the attention of it, or if they disagree with the speaker, they simply heckle to break the smooth flow of ideas of the speaker. My friends, the fact is there is never, ever an appropriate time or setting for heckling. It is always out of line. It lacks civility, it shows immaturity, and demonstrates a complete lack of judgment. John McCain, as was quoted in Jaffe 2010, page 45, states, "One thing Americans are tired of is people yelling at each other in America." Have you noticed that? They want us to respect each other's opinions. Americans want dialogue. And Atkins, of whom I mentioned previously from the article, said, "Would I feel any differently if I considered the speaker to be a vile, despicable person, such as David Duke or a KKK Grand Wizard? No, no. No matter how hateful the message, the messenger has a right to get the message across." So, how do we facilitate dialogue without heckling? According to a Kaplan University seminar held on January 7, 2010, it was said that one should earn the right to challenge the speaker in a different form. There is indeed a time and a place for everything, and audience members have several responsibilities, not only to the speaker, but also to other listeners. So, besides bearing that responsibility, they also bear a responsibility to their own ethical positions, but also mainly to the other listeners who may actually be interested in hearing what the speaker has to say. They should always show respect for the speaker, no matter what. So in conclusion, while I can't reason to give more weight to one of these responsibilities over another, I do believe that they are all equal responsibilities on the part of the listener. I think that Larry Atkins, in his article that appeared in Christian Science Monitor, said it best and summed it up properly when he said, "While there's no Emily Post Miss Manners handbook on heckler etiquette, it's evident that hecklers and protesters have First Amendment right to speak as long as they don't incite a riot or breach the peace. However, balanced against this First Amendment right is an unwritten code of decency under which hecklers and protesters should let a speaker complete a speech without constant interruption or total disruption. It is a matter of good manners and consideration for other people." Thank you.